because he wanted it all to fit.
Meticulous attention to every detail is why your custom cabinets should be made and installed by Miller Cabinets of Plain City. MillerCabinets.com.
Hey, welcome in. Friday edition, Bruce Hooley Show. Glad to have you along. And I hear the music playing, so we're just about ready to come out and get started. Joe Biden's at Pointe de Hoc. Should he have gone back to where Reagan was? Stand by. We'll give you our answer. My wife has a policy, and that policy is not an insurance policy. It's more of a belief. We don't necessarily agree on the belief, but having witnessed the events of the last hour, I now have to say that my wife is right. When you have a great experience, when you go somewhere and nothing could be better, it's just fantastic, it's perfect in every way, it is a fool's errand to return to that place at a later time and try to duplicate it, because it never measures up to the first time. I will not fight my wife on that. I don't know if Dr. Jill Biden has that same perspective as my wife, but Joe Biden needed to have that perspective today because he returned to the cliffs of Pointe de Hoc in France, where American Army Rangers displayed incalculable heroism on June 6th, 1944, and where Ronald Reagan gave the greatest D-Day commemorative speech ever 40 years ago. We played you pretty much the entirety of that speech yesterday here on the Bruce Hooley Show. And Biden thought, and this was a campaign idea that they talked about, hey, you know, Reagan knocked it out of the park at Pointe de Hoc. Let's do that. Let's send Joe Biden there and let's have Joe make a speech there, and it'll be Reagan-like. Probably hard for him to get past the initial hesitance given the fact that Reagan is Republican and Biden is a Democrat, but they did it anyway. They sent Joe Biden out there today to the cliffs of Pointe de Hoc, and I got to tell you, I did learn something new. Early on in his speech, Joe Biden said that the American Army Rangers showed amazing heroism given the presence of German machine guns put there by Field Marshal Romney. Field Marshal Romney. Now, I thought my World War II history pretty well. And I knew Mitt Romney has disappointed us as a Republican squishy senator from Utah. But I did not know that Mitt Romney was A, alive in 1944, and B, was apparently in command of the German forces guarding Pointe de Hoc. So more of the same from Biden today. In France yesterday, I've seen more video now. Not only did he try to sit down in a chair that wasn't there until Dr. Jill put her hand over her mouth and said, stand up, or something to that effect. Not only did Joe Biden beat a hasty retreat from the ceremonies after they ended, while French President Emmanuel Macron stuck around to shake the hands of veterans whose age averages 100 years, all of them debatably more cognitively sharp than our president, despite their advancing age. And not only did Joe Biden, once taps started playing, turn his back to the flag and start looking around. Now, I found this highly disrespectful until I had a thought, because I'm trying to give the old buzzard a break. Maybe he thought they were playing it for him. Maybe he thought they were playing it for him. You got to consider all the possibilities. But that's the morning that you missed while you were working or doing whatever you were doing. Joe Biden at Pointe de Hoc trying to duplicate Ronald Reagan's speech. He fell so far short. I will not play a word of it because I don't want to ruin your Friday. It's a beautiful Friday. It's very temperate outside. The wind is blowing. The breeze is pleasant. And we are still stuck with this addled fool as our president of the United States, but hopefully for only 5 more months. Mitt Romney in command of the German forces at Pointe du Hoc. You heard it. Well, you didn't hear it here first. You heard it recounted here first after Joe Biden said it today. Now, last night, the Columbus City Schools held their final meeting for parents, faculty, and staff to show up and offer their opinions on the proposed changes and closings of buildings in the district. There is a thought that they will close up to 20 buildings in the district because their enrollment is declining. And one of the people who spoke at Briggs High School, an Old Orchard Elementary School, is a teacher with 25 years at West Broad Elementary. She said she is feeling worried and anxious about the decision. I understand that. She's got a routine. We all like routines. I don't like change. You don't like change. She says, I feel like we are a number. Well, you probably should respect that feeling because you are a number. You are one of a large number of teachers that the Columbus Education Association wants to preserve your spot because you're paying union dues to it, and they're vast with cash, and that's why they don't want the district to close any buildings, because buildings that close are buildings that remove jobs, and jobs that get removed are jobs that no longer pay union dues, and jobs that no longer pay union dues shrink the number of members of the, see where we're going here? Yeah, I think you do. I think you do. Lead story in the Dispatch today, here as we are 1 week into Pride Month, says that next year, small town pride parades could look different if an Ohio bill to criminalize drag performances in the presence of children and teens becomes law. I sure hope all this happens. I sure hope that we outlaw drag performers in public. Angela King, Republican, of course, from Salina, and Representative Josh Williams, Republican, of course, from Sylvania, has a bill in the Ohio General Assembly that adds drag performers to a list that includes strippers, topless dancers, and go-go dancers. The bill would criminalize a performance outside certain locations if it's considered obscene or harmful to juveniles and features performers who exhibit a gender identity different to the gender assigned at birth, using clothing, makeup, prosthetic, or imitation genitals or breasts or other physical markers. Okay, now that you know a little bit about what's in this bill, can you give me a good reason why that behavior should be allowed in public? Not just in front of juveniles, in front of anybody. Why would we allow obscene, and that's what the bill says, obscene performances? Why would we allow, I'm not even going to make a judgment about harmful to juveniles or any other provisions in the law. Let's just stick to the basics. If it is considered to be obscene, why would we allow it in public? What else that we have adjudged to be obscene do we allow in public? But this is all part of the alphabet mafia sledgehammering of sanity and morality, in that if you're trying to limit their deviance in any way, if you're trying to keep it out of your field of vision, keep it away from the tender eyes of your children or grandchildren, then the obscene performance, the fake genitals, the fake prosthetic breasts are not the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. Performers could be charged with a first-degree misdemeanor if the performance is in the presence of anyone under 18. A fifth-degree felony if the performance is considered obscene. A fourth-degree felony if the performance is considered obscene and is in the presence of a child younger than 13. A fourth-degree felony? Why don't we make it like a first or second-degree felony? Because you know what? Here we go with the crime and punishment rant again. If we outlawed this and if we threw these I'll be as charitable as I can, performers in jail for, I don't know, 7 days. If that was a known penalty for this kind of behavior, then they could go back to doing this the way they used to do it when I went to college. North High Street, the short north, different now. But back then, it was awash with the kinds of places where you could, if you were deviant enough, go and be, I don't know about entertained, but warped by these kinds of performances. They would go back where they belong, in private, into shadowy, smoky areas where the only people who could see them are the people who are old enough to have the freedoms to do these kinds of things. But tomorrow you'll have the Pride Parade in downtown Columbus, and there'll be naked butt cheeks hanging out while people dance and cavort around in chaps, and there'll be kids there watching all of it.
Sunshine, high 76. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 56. Kicking off the weekend tomorrow, breezy with times of clouds and sunshine, high 77. Passing shower late tomorrow night into Sunday, cloudy all day, high 76. Mostly cloudy Sunday night with low 56 to wrap the weekend. Monday, when you get back at it, times of clouds and sunshine with high 69. I'm Ruth O'Brien on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
You want your child to become all that he or she can be, but you are dissatisfied with the current public education system. At Heart of Ohio Classical Academy Dublin campus, your child will receive a top-quality classical education based on the curriculum of the Hillsdale College's K-12 program, and it's tuition-free for everyone. For more information on how to enroll your child or to register for a parent group or event, visit dublinclassical.com today. That's dublinclassical.com. Heart of Ohio, tuition-free, where students learn how to think. dublinclassical.com.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
If you're a local business and want to see what Salem Surround can do for you, Google Salem Surround Columbus. Remember to Google Salem Surround Columbus today.
War has played a key role in the history of the United States, from the nation's founding right down to the present. Wars made the United States independent, kept it together, increased its size, and established it as a global superpower. Hi, I'm James Early, host of
We're in commercials. Sorry, I should have put that back up.
In each episode, I discuss American history through the lens of the most important battles of America's wars. To start listening now, go to parthenonpodcast.com or search Key Battles of American History on your favorite podcasting platform.
Are you among the millions of Americans living with chronic pain? If so, you may think prescription opioids are the solution. The truth is, the benefits of opioids are limited. Opioids only mask the pain. Opioids also come with serious side effects, ranging from nausea to withdrawal symptoms to overdose. As many as 25% of people who are prescribed opioids struggle with addiction. And those who are addicted to opioids are 40 times more likely to move on to heroin. No one wants to live in
Two juveniles shot today in Columbus.
Free. There is another choice: physical therapy. Physical therapists treat pain through movement and exercise, no warning labels required, and you get to be an active participant in your care. Choose to treat your pain safely. Choose physical therapy. Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist near you. This public service announcement is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors, co-workers, and friends. We are your sons and daughters, your brothers and sisters. We are the people you see in your community every day. While we serve part-time, we're learning valuable life and job skills that we can use in our civilian careers. We get up to 100% of our tuition paid for at state colleges, so we can have an even better future. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state through every storm, every flood, every emergency that hits home here in Ohio. We are ready to respond and help our fellow Ohioans recover. We are every city, every small town, and every community. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard, aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Well, you'd be silly to miss out on the chance to do a couple of things. Number one, get a ticket and attend our debate watch party on June the 27th. I sure hope Trump is quiet and lets Joe Biden talk and talk and talk and talk. Because if Trump starts talking, I mean, maybe Biden will fall asleep, but Biden is much more likely to hang himself by talking than he is by falling asleep while Trump is talking. So get your ticket to the June 27th event at Dave and Buster's in Hilliard, debate watch party. Doors open at 8 o'clock. We'll start the program at 8:30. The debate itself will start at 9, and I'll interact with you, and we'll talk if there are commercial breaks, or we'll chat a bit after. Looking forward to that. Also, at 9890answer.com, you can enter the Father's Day sweepstakes, which could win $500 for your dad. You can enter the Get Caught Up sweepstakes, which would help you with your bills. You could win $10,000, or you can register for the Patriots Alaska Cruise with Seb Gorka and Mike Gallagher. All available to you at 9890answer.com. Memorial tournament in town. Hopefully the violence that is also continuing to escalate in our town will not reach out to Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio this weekend. Overnight in Columbus, in an area just south of 270, kind of east of 270, south of 70, Aerosmith Drive. We had 2 juveniles shot. No IDs on them yet, but 2 juveniles were shot. Of course, recapping the past weekend, we had an 18-year-old girl shot to death by a 20-year-old man. And then at her vigil a day later, we have now an identity on one of the 2 victims in the Crum Park vigil shooting. Lonnie Johnston, age 29, pronounced dead at 10:07 p.m. at Crum Park while attending the vigil for, what was her name again? I'm so sorry. Demaya Cummerlander. And she was shot, 18 years old. She was shot by 20-year-old Kenneth Hairston, who said he was fooling around with a gun. Gun apparently didn't have a safety, and somebody slapped it out of his hand, or he handed it to somebody. It went off, and it very unfortunately shot her. The hopelessness of our youth is quite a contrast to the determination of the youth that we celebrated yesterday. I'm talking about the young people who stormed the beaches at Normandy, Omaha, Sword, Gold, Juneau, all those beaches. A vast difference in the people that we see today who are of the same exact age as those who had no problem. In fact, I played a cut from Karl Rove yesterday of a 16-year-old who said he was big for his age and he wanted to go fight. And his dad said, "You want to go fight? Go fight. I'll sign the papers saying you're 18. Do we have anybody doing that today? Well, of course not, because the country that the kids in the 40s was a totally different country. It was a country with values. It was a country with shared values. I'll have more on this at 11:35 with some really insightful comments yesterday from Ben Shapiro, but you don't need a demonstration of this any more than like what's going to go on downtown tomorrow. The Columbus Arts Festival and the Gay Pride Parade going on in downtown Columbus tomorrow. That's what the youth of America is, if not obsessed with, fed down its throat. And it's not just here, but America is one of them, or Columbus is one of America's most, quote, gay-friendly cities. Let me read you a couple things here. Campus Middle School in the municipality, easy for me to say, what did I channel my inner Joe Biden? Campus Middle School in the municipality of Greenwood Village, Colorado, requires teachers to show a video promoting atheism, LGBTQ plus solidarity, on what it calls the Day of Silence by buying related merchandise, all of this without ever telling parents. In a day of silence created by LGBTQ plus activists and observed in hundreds of schools nationally, kids are encouraged to remain silent all day in solidarity with those whom activists claim are bullied, marginalized, harassed for being gay, bisexual, non-binary, transgender, or other trendy sexual behavior. This is also happening in New York, where a teacher and a mom by the name of Adrienne Gumo came before the Lancaster, New York School Board and had this to say.
In sending our children to public school, my husband and I are aware that there will be situations that our children will encounter that may not align with our Christian conservative family values. We teach our children to be kind to everyone, including those of other races, religions, and sexual orientations. We teach them our personal values at home, and we send them to school with the expectation that they will learn the academics from their teachers. I've never come to speak at a board meeting. I did not speak last year when my daughter was barked at by members of the GSA Club when she politely said no thank you to purchasing a pride sticker. I did not speak this year when her teacher put up a Christmas tree in the classroom and adorned it with pride flags, which some might consider desecration of a religious symbol.
Yep.
But something did happen recently that prompted me to come here tonight. One of my children was given an assignment where she was told to define gender. She wrote that gender is what you are when you're born, male or female. She's told she was wrong. Her teacher instructed her to change her answer to gender is whatever you want to identify as. This goes beyond what I will allow in my children's education. It is not only our family's belief that God created us as male or female, but it's also human biology and scientific fact.
Yeah, but giving the right answer is not really the right answer if it conflicts with what the left thinks. Here is more as Adrienne Gumo, a teacher, spoke to her local school board about what happened to her little girl.
I have students of diverse cultures and different family orientations. I pride myself in making each child feel valued, equal, and loved. I teach them academics according to the mandated New York State standards. I can stand here tonight and tell you that not one of my students knows my religion, where I stand on the political spectrum, or my views on current events. And that's because as an educator, it is my job to teach children, but it is not my job to instill my views and my beliefs on them or on their families. If I were to bring a menorah into my classroom and adorn it with the Christian flag or a thin blue line police flag, I would surely be told that it must be removed, and I'm fairly certain that disciplinary action would be taken against me.
No doubt.
Why is the same standard not put in place for Lancaster teachers when they choose to desecrate a Christmas tree in their classrooms by adorning it with a controversial political symbol? When my eldest child entered elementary school here in Lancaster, I sent a letter to the principal because I had a concern. Because of that one letter, I was then permanently labeled in the school's computer system as an HMP. If you're not aware what that means, it stands for high maintenance parent. I know this to be true because the following year we had a great rapport with my daughter's teacher. She told me, I was so nervous to have your child in my class because you were labeled as an HMP. But your family is amazing and so kind. If being involved in my children's education and protecting them, when I see them being discriminated against for their beliefs and values makes me high maintenance, then so be it. I proudly will wear those letters HMP on my sleeve as I stand up for what I believe is right.
With SRN News, I'm Jeremy House in Washington.
Barely
The
snuck that in.
prosecution has rested its case against the president's son, Hunter Biden, who's accused of lying on a federal gun purchase form when he said he wasn't using drugs at the time he bought a revolver in 2018. Prosecutors say Hunter Biden was actively using drugs around that time and purposely lied on the form. President Biden
Hunter
spoke
Biden
today
lied? Come
Baldwin
on.
Hawk,
That never
marking his
happens.
second trip to the Normandy coast during his visit to France.
You know what Hunter
to mark
Biden's
the
defense
anniversary
is?
of D-Day.
Hunter
Mr.
Biden's
Biden used the
defense
site to rally Americans
is
in
that
defense of democracy.
convicting him of a federal gun crime would deny him his Second Amendment rights. Does anybody else have an irony meter that is that is redlining with the derelict son of a Democratic president using Second Amendment rights to defend himself from a federal gun charge? Thought the Democrats were against the Second Amendment. When convenient, yes. When inconvenient, no.
To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will get you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve it.
What all we got here?
Truly is the shining city on the hill. He's Sebastian Gorka, and he's on America First, weekday afternoons from 3 to 5 on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Car payments, credit card payments, home loans. Man, that's a lot of debt for you to carry. Let us help you get caught up when you enter the $18,000 Get Caught Up sweepstakes. The main prize winner gets up to $10,000 in debt relief. 3 first prize winners will get up to $1,000 in debt relief. And 10 second prize winners will get $500 in debt relief. That's $18,000 total, and that could be you. Enter the Get Caught Up sweepstakes at 989theanswer.com.
The Caribbean is calling. Dennis Prager here. I invite you to join me on a Bible cruise this November in the Caribbean. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun, surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise.
Girlfriend Halle Biden had a lot to say on the stand.
Curacao, Bonaire, and more, while making unforgettable memories with like-minded travelers. Stroll through Curaçao's iconic pastel-colored shops and snorkel in Bonaire's world-class coral reefs. You'll enjoy some of the most delicious cuisine aboard Holland America's Rotterdam, a fantastic destination itself with riveting shows and spectacular views. This experience is more than a vacation. It's a chance to participate in profound discussions and fresh insights I will share with you about the books of the Bible and current events should energize and challenge you. Mark your calendars, November 29th to December 8th, 2024. Learn more and secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519 or booking online at PragerBibleCruise.com.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
Well, I had a very pleasant call yesterday with Lori. Lori lives in the state of Texas. Has she been a long-time friend? No. Yesterday was the first time I spoke with Lori. What do we speak about? Oh, we spoke about Patriot Switch products. And Lori is excited. You know, when I talked about why Patriot Switch matters and how it can take market share away from woke corporations and how it's plant-based and no toxins, and she was like, yeah, resonated all the way through. Here's the thing, people, you can complain, and complaining does what? Did it accomplish anything? No. When you take money away from big companies like Johnson & Johnson, Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Heinz, Coke, all these companies, do you think they take notice? Hey, our market share is down. You think Bud Light took note of the pushback on Dylan Mulvaney? That's how you get their attention, is to hurt their bottom line. 450 plus products. You're already buying them, mouthwash, toothpaste, etc. Just find out more by going to patriotswitch.com/Bruce, patriotswitch.com/Bruce. Oh boy, there's breaking news. First Lady Jill Biden and Jim Biden, the president's brother, have both shown up now in Wilmington, Delaware at derelict first son Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. And if you say, wait a second, Jill Biden can't be there. Must be a lookalike. Can't be the Dr. Jill Biden, because she's in France with Joe. Well, here's David Spunt of Fox clearing that up for us yesterday.
The First Lady's office only says that the First Lady is coming to Wilmington essentially for one day. I've asked for clarification to see if perhaps she could be called as a character witness. No guidance at all. We just know that she's going to be in Wilmington tomorrow. That's as far as her office would say. But it's notable that she's leaving France to come to Wilmington for a day. Then she's going back to France.
That's very interesting on a couple fronts. Number one, what's the carbon footprint on flying Dr. Jill Biden across the ocean and then back across the ocean when she could just stay there? The other oddity of this is that there are text messages out there that Hunter Biden is not even remotely fond of his stepmother. But he's such a baby that he has to have somebody there to hold his hand. Like, doesn't he have one of his stripper girlfriends? Or the ex-wife of his brother who he got hooked on crack cocaine. That was her testimony yesterday, Hallie Biden. Or whoever the skank is that he's got there now as his girlfriend. Hunter Biden, very needy, very, very needy. The generation of before Hunter Biden is exceedingly needy. Hunter Biden, though, has a defense. The defense is rested. Hunter Biden has a defense. Abby Lowell, his high-priced attorney, has pleaded that you can't convict Hunter Biden of a federal gun charge because convicting Hunter Biden of a federal gun charge would be a violation of Hunter Biden's Second Amendment rights. I know, right now, you wait a minute. My irony meter is redlining. The privileged son of a Democratic president who every time something bad happens with a gun blames the gun and not the people. Hunter Biden is using his Second Amendment rights as the reason why he should have been able to lie on a federal gun form buying a gun as a drug addict. Yes. And it might work. I mean, after all, Steve Bannon got sentenced to 4 months in prison yesterday for contempt of Congress. Refresh my memory. How many months in prison did Eric Holder get for being in contempt of Congress? How many months do you think Merrick Garland will get for refusing to turn over the tapes of Joe Biden's interview with Robert Hur? Which, of course, Merrick Garland, he can't turn over the tapes of Joe Biden with Robert Hur. We've turned over the transcript without fear or favor, blah, 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 blah. We can't turn it over because Merrick Garland says Republicans want the tapes only to use for partisan political purposes. For once, Merrick Garland and I are in total agreement. We do want the tapes to use for partisan political purposes. The question is not whether it is right to withhold the tapes to keep Republicans from using them for partisan political purposes. The question to ask is, why are the tapes capable of being used for partisan political purposes? You are admitting, Merrick Garland, and every other Dem fighting release of the tapes, that if we hear them, the president will sound worse than he comes off in the transcript. You are admitting that they are capable of hurting him politically. That's an outright admission. Do you think if they had tapes of Donald Trump talking about January 6th or whatever, Republicans might fight their release because they're afraid Trump might say something incriminating, but they wouldn't be afraid that Trump would sound like an applesauce-brained fool, which is exactly what Merrick Garland's fear is. Now, speaking of the applesauce-brained fool, he was in France yesterday talking about protecting democracy and the 80th anniversary of D-Day. And I said today, today he's at Pointe de Hoc, the same place where Reagan gave the speech that I played liberal amounts of yesterday for you. And I said today on Twitter, Joe Biden going back to Pointe de Hoc, the exact same place Ronald Reagan gave a speech 40 years ago, and giving a speech about the exact same thing is the difference between Reagan doing it and the difference between Reagan doing it and Biden doing it is the difference between lightning and the lightning bug. That's the difference, right? Reagan's speech had power and gusto and depth and breadth and met the moment. And Biden's is like Biden. Here's the bar on, did Reagan is inspiring. Here's the bar on Biden. Was he able to stand through the whole thing? Did he fall asleep? He did say that Field Marshal Romney had the guns on the cliffs, not Romney. Oops. Many people asked yesterday, I asked yesterday, Matt Mayer asked yesterday when he joined us at noon, would today's generation of young people be able to do what the young people did, and old people too? The average age of people who stormed the beaches at Normandy was age 26, and the reason why it was age 26 was because in World War II, you were drafted up to age 50 for the duration of the conflict. From the moment we declared war on Japan, you were drafted up to age 50 for the duration. That's why the average age was 26. But Ben Shapiro asked this same question, rephrasing Reagan's question from his amazing speech 40 years ago on Point to Hook. Where do we get men like this? Where do we get men like this?
The real question for us on the 80th anniversary of D-Day is the question that Reagan asked. Where do we find such men? Because it honestly raises goosebumps to think of the extraordinary heroism and bravery of normal 18, 19-year-old men storming beaches, running uphill into machine gun fire in order to liberate a continent none of them had ever visited. Where do we find such men? And that's a real question. How was the D-Day generation raised? Because that has a lot to do, obviously, with the kind of men that are produced in the greatest generation. Well, the answer is they were raised in church. Church membership in 1937 was 73%. 96% of Americans, according to Gallup, said they believed in God in 1944. A grand total of 4% of all households in the United States were single-parent families in 1940. In other words, the men of the greatest generation were raised by two parents in church-going families that believed in God. It turns out you cannot raise a great generation in a vacuum of values, because you can't raise a great generation without raising a good generation.
Totally true. Those are the values that we talk about on this show. Those are likely the values that you practice in your family. Those are the values that Democratic policies have destroyed, and you don't need to take my word for it. Here's Ben Shapiro on how we're doing now in those exact same categories.
Well, today, the American single motherhood rate is 41%, literally 10 times the single motherhood rate in 1937. Only 47% of Americans, a minority of Americans, are members of churches. And of course, the churches of today are significantly watered down from the churches of the 1930s and 1940s, which means that a significant percentage of people who consider themselves members of churches aren't actually receiving anything like biblical values. Just 74% of Americans say they believe in God, and many of those Americans are actually quasi-agnostic and believe in something spiritual that doesn't demand anything of them. The United States has spent the 4 generations since D-Day removing all the supporting institutions of American life, exploding American values in the name of a heedless picture of emotive individualism in which your feelings are all that matter. Because it turns out that going to church instills in you a belief that you are part of something bigger and something more important. Without that, there is no more greatest generation, only an obnoxiously self-involved generation.
And you will see that obnoxiously self-involved generation on full display throughout this month and in downtown Columbus tomorrow.
This afternoon, windy, less humid with clouds and sunshine, high 76. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 56. Kicking off the weekend tomorrow, breezy with times of clouds and sunshine, high 77. Passing shower late tomorrow night into Sunday, cloudy all day, high 76. Mostly cloudy Sunday night with low 56 to wrap the weekend. Monday, when you get back at it, times of clouds and sunshine with high 69. I'm Ruth O'Brien on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
This is Dennis Prager. I am excited to announce the all-new Pragertopia Plus. You can listen to my show whenever it's convenient for you, all commercial free and all on demand. Now with Prager Plus, search topics, guests, and segments all the way back to 2010. And now a truly exciting new benefit, my monthly online video get-together for Pragertopia Plus members only. This is where for an hour each month, Pragertopia Plus members get an exclusive chance to ask me anything. That's right, anything. It's on video. I'll be talking to you and answering your questions. We may even have a special guest every now and then. I've never done this. Submit your questions for me at Pragertopia.com. This is only available to Pragertopia Plus members. This is our chance to connect like never before. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of the timeshares. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshares. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answer. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-839-8484. That's 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
This is Josh Pick with the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show. The thing that I hear most often in meetings is, what do I do when it seems like stocks and bonds are getting crushed? Rates at the bank are abysmal, and inflation is at 40-year highs. Well, you're not alone, and there are better options. Did you know that you can lock in darn near double-digit returns in a positive market while simultaneously accepting zero downside risk? Learn more about ideas like this and many other ways to improve your financial situation by listening to the Aptus Retirement Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress. A mom. We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty, something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not.
It's not about paranoia
or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Well, I had some conversation this morning with someone who is considering beautiful carpet for their beautiful home. And I love having those conversations with people because making people's dreams come true when it comes to remodeling their living space, it's enjoyable. And it's particularly enjoyable when it's a listener of this particular show, because oftentimes we have long conversations and I enjoy spending time with my listeners. So this is another way for me to interact with you, another way for me to serve you, and another way for you, honestly, to help me out, because I sell the carpet and I make a little money on the side and helps pay the girls' college tuitions and helps pay the bills. So if you are looking for beautiful carpet, the same exact brands that you see in big box stores, only for less money because we don't have the same high overhead that they have. Imagine what a store on 23 near Orange Road costs. The monthly footprint on that is outrageous. Go to brucehooley.com, click on the flooring tab, and I will get a hold of you, and we will get you all outfitted with beautiful flooring. brucehooley.com, flooring tab, upper right-hand corner. So we were talking about the difference in America, as articulated by Ben Shapiro yesterday on the Ben Shapiro podcast, about the source of the willingness of soldiers on June 6, 1944, to storm the beaches, to run into machine gun fire, to not turn tail and run when the casualty rate for the initial invaders on the Normandy coast were killed at a rate of 90%. And Shapiro cited some statistics that in 1937, 73%. I can't read my own handwriting. Here it is. In 1944, 96% of the people in America believed in God. 4% came from single-parent homes. Now what are the numbers? 41% of the youth of America come from single-parent homes. 47% are members of churches. In 1937, this is what I couldn't read, 73% were members of churches. And he made a great point. The churches now are, at least half of them, I would say probably 70% of them, maybe even more, are so off course that going in doesn't do any good. It only reinforces the wrong think that is out there throughout our culture. You need evidence of that? Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. The largest Methodist delegation comes from the Ivory Coast in West Africa. It has 1.2 million members, except it is no longer affiliated with the Methodist Church USA. Why is that? Because last month, the United Methodist Church in the U.S. voted to repeal their church's long-standing ban on LGBTQ clergy. So you can be LGBTQ and be a pastor in the Methodist Church. They have lost vast sums of their American membership. They have lost vast sums of their churches. The headquarters of the Methodist Church of America doesn't care. They just want the real estate, the buildings. But the United Methodist Church of the Ivory Coast announced this decision to leave the denomination after delegates repealed their church's longstanding ban on LGBTQ clergy. Now, do you think this was a close vote? I mean, this is the vote where, you would anticipate that in the Methodist Church or in any major American denomination, any major denomination of any American church, if you're going to say, we're going to allow gay, lesbian, transgender pastors, it'd be a pretty, like, if they're going to win that argument, you'd think it'd be by the skin of their teeth. The vote was 692 to 51 in favor of allowing LGBTQ clergy. What is the consequence of this? Well, when you tell people that their dysfunction is not just good for them, but is God's design for their life, when anyone tries to tell them differently, the reaction is often violent and unhinged, which is why I do not find it a coincidence that I am holding in my hand a story out of Nashville, Tennessee. Now, in Nashville, they have a media entity, much like our own Ohio Press Network. Jack Windsor, host of the Windsor Report here on The Answer from 5 to 6 every night. Jack does a great job at the Ohio Press Network. Well, in Tennessee, they have a thing called the Tennessee Star. And they're not a waste of journalism like I'm sure the Knoxville News Sentinel is and the Nashville Banner is. They have been trying at the Tennessee Star to get their hands on the manifesto from the Covenant school shooter ever since she killed 6 people, 3 kids and 3 adults on March 27th, 2023. And they won't release it, right? They won't release it. A little bit leaked out. Steven Crowder had a piece of it. Some other little bits and pieces have leaked out. But it's very clear from what the FBI is doing that they do not want this manifesto out there. Why would that be? Anybody solve the mystery of why that would be? Well, because what the Nashville Star has been able to get their hands on show that the shooter appears to have been motivated by, shockingly enough, gender ideology and other political issues. Here's a portion of the manifesto from the shooter. Now in America, it makes one a criminal to have a gun or be transgender or non-binary. These documents were in her car when she drove up to the school right before she murdered 6 people. She says in her writing, I hate these bleep politicians. The diary entry was called My Imaginary Penis. Yes, the shooter was biologically female, but identified as male. Not crazy, just male. She continues, I finally found the answer that changing one's gender is possible. No, it isn't. She raged that her mother was raised conservatively and did not support her gender transitioning, saying, she is driving me crazy. The FBI did not count the Covenant School shooting as domestic terrorism because they said it did not contain political motives. Well, let's go to the FBI website, shall we? And tell you what it says on the FBI website about the definition of domestic terrorism. Keep in mind, this woman drove up to a Christian school and murdered 6 people. And she did so because she's frustrated because she's transgender and getting pushback from her mom and from probably other people in her life. Here's the FBI official definition of domestic terrorism. Violent criminal acts, ding ding, committed by individuals and or groups to further ideological goals, ding ding, stemming from domestic influences such as those of a political, ding, religious, ding, social, ding, racial, or environmental nature. Now, the Covenant School shooter is not talked about anymore on television because it's vanished into the memory hole where Democrats want it to be. What has not vanished into the memory hole is what? January 6th! Right-wing terrorism, the biggest threat to our country. By the way, if you think this woman was not thoroughly confused, she wrote in her diary that she used stuffed animals to pretend to be a boy having sex with a girl. But God's voice is never silenced inside a person because she also wrote, I am such a pervert. Yeah, sadly so, because people around you affirmed you in that rather than loving you through it. Churches don't not want gay people to come. We want them to come and we want them to understand what God designed them to be.
If you're not getting timely and useful financial advice throughout the year from your accountant, why not? I'm CPA.
That'll do it for hour number 1. We got a lot more on Biden's border mess and other issues to cover in hour number 2. If you'd like to see that, go to the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page or the 989 The Answer Facebook page. Hour number 2 will stream there. I'll release this later on Rumble and have snippets on Twitter and Facebook and other social media sites. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. And hopefully you'll be in church on Sunday, an authentic Bible-believing church on Sunday. Have a great day.